Hello everyone, it's Deb Naylor, aka the Flying Stamper, and today's video is for those of you attending the upcoming Chelle's Cards fundraiser. This is a class that I do each September to raise funds for a variety of different things that I know my sister would support, and this gives me an opportunity to share memories and remember things special about my sister and share them with you. So we have 8 people attending virtually, so if you're attending virtually, you are in the drawing. Of course, if you are attending in person on Saturday, 9:30 at Farm 12, the Ficca Coffee House, you'll have your own drawing. So I just wanted to show you guys that your tickets are going in the little drawing thing here. I'm going to put them all over here and drop them into the little container. And I have 4 door prizes. I'm going to give that away a little bit later, so you have a 50% chance of winning. Woohoo, that's pretty good odds. I'm going to tell you that you have an email that tells you some additional information about the event, as well as photos of each project. But for sure, you're going to need some glue dots, some dimensionals, and some sort of adhesive. So if you haven't already grabbed those, you might want to. This is one of the cards that we'll be doing, and actually we'll go ahead and start with that one right now. So let me grab my little project box. Now, if you were a Paper Pumpkin subscriber for August, then you got this gorgeous little stamp set that had a forget-me-not in it. And I put the forget-me-not story on the Facebook page so you know why this reminds me of my sister. If you do not have this stamp set, any kind of line art floral will do that you can color in. So just grab something similar. Your kit, be careful when you pull your kits out. You'll have one for each project, and you will want to be careful when you pull that open because there's lots of little goodies inside for your project. Also, on the top of your kit, when you receive it in the mail, will be a full package of rhinestone basic jewels. My sister loved blingy stuff, so I thought that it would be fun to gift you each a set of your own bling. We'll use some in class, and then you'll have lots left over. And I'm going to show you some creative ways with to use these jewels and be a little bit different. So you will have a full package. I've already obviously used some of mine. So we'll set that to the side, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. So let's take out the supplies that are in here. Now, I use the Memento Black ink pad for the stamping on this one. And if you don't have an black ink pad, you really need to get one. So the Memento is what I use, but you might have a spot or you might have something else that's black, and that's fine. I got to grab some scrap paper to stamp on. Sorry about that. I just realized I really don't want to stamp on my placemat here. Okay, so you could also use boho blue if you have that new in color, and that is the color of the blue of this particular card. It's boho blue, which is an in color, a new in color, the 2023 to 2025 in colors. Okay, so we're going to ink this guy up. So whatever floral you've chosen to put in here if you didn't get the kit. And then you're going to want to let it set to the side for a couple of minutes. Just let it dry because we're going to color it. Put these things away. Okay, so while that's drying for a minute or two, we'll go ahead and attach the boho blue textured. I used one of the 3D embossing folders. And darn if I can remember the name of this thing right now. It's fun getting old. I used to know everything by heart, and not so much anymore. This is one of the new ones. I think it's called Ornate, but I might have that wrong. All right, we'll let that set to the side. Now you've got this little gold vellum layer that goes in the middle. And I don't know if this gold vellum is still on the clearance rack or not. This was from the holiday catalog last year in 2022, or yeah, 2022, and it was just gorgeous vellum. And I had some really long scraps, enough to accommodate the entire group. It's just so pretty because it just adds that little tiny bit of bling, basically, and ties in with the basic rhinestones. Okay, here's a trick. With the basic rhinestones, you can color them, and you can either use a Stampin' Blend or a Sharpie, or if you've got any other kind of permanent markers. So we need 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a couple small ones and then one larger one. I'm using a yellow Sharpie, but if you have any kind of yellow blend or blendability or other permanent kind of marker, you can use that. I just realized I don't have my Take-A-Pic tool. And for once, I can actually find that thing. Lots of times I can't find my Take-A-Pic tool. It likes to hide out. Okay, so, oh, before I move those over, I need to color these in. Durr. All right, I had 2 cups of coffee. I don't have a lot of excuses for not being on track this morning. So for coloring, if you have the new boho blue marker, you can use that. If you don't have that, you can use balmy blue or light navy or dark navy blends, or any kind of a light blue marker. There were some other blues in the past that will work really well with this, so any light blue marker. And then for the leaves, any lighter green marker. So Old Olive, Pear Pizzazz, Mossy Meadow might work, River Rock, whatever you've got. So let me go ahead and start. We're going to color in first the stems and the leaves. And I don't like to color the whole image in. I like to leave a little bit of white. It gives it kind of a watercolor look. Let's see, did I get them all? Maybe a little more there. Okay, and then the flowers we're going to color in with the blue. And this is light Night of Navy. And this is actually one of the old blendabilities. I still have some of those. And so I'm using that up. I haven't replaced all of my blendabilities yet. Okay, then once we get this all colored in, we're going to bling it up with the basic rhinestones. You could put black in here too for the centers if you don't have a yellow permanent marker or a yellow Sharpie. Black would look fine too because you've used black for the stamp to stamp out the image, so that would be fine. Or if you don't want to color them at all, just put them in clear and they'll look pretty. Oh, but I like the yellow, but anyway, it's, you know, a personal preference. I like it because it kind of ties in with the gold vellum. Okay, let's set those to the side, and we'll take a couple of dimensionals. Probably about 4 would be good. And there we go. Okay, there is our first project. Okay, so my sister had a beautiful forget-me-not tattoo, and that was the inspiration behind this card. If you haven't read on the Facebook group yet, that's the short story. There's actually a longer story that goes along with it, but that's the short story. Okay, so we have one done. Yay! Let's do a door prize. So I have this really nice stamp set. It's called Sending Support. A great one to send out and lift somebody else up. Let them know you're thinking about them, or you're available to help with whatever kind of situation they're in, or they've lost somebody, that you're available. Okay, and that goes to Leslie W. Okay, all right. So that will be in with your kit when you get your kit in the mail. Okay, next up is our Fun Fold card. And this one is an easel card. So when you get your kit, you'll find that you have to work a little bit with some folds, but if you set it up like that, then it just sets up like a little easel. My sister loved country music, and we got to go to the Grand Ole Opry in 2019. That was my last healthy visit and memory with her. So that's what inspired this card, was our love for country western music. In case I forget to tell you, be really careful with your gluing. You don't want to glue the top of that layer down, because if you do, then you won't be able to make it fold like that, and it won't set up like that. I thought this would be a really great guy card. But, you know, anyone could get this. All right, let's open this up and talk about what's inside. And you will need this stamp set that I used on this one is called Country Livin'. And I also use the layering leaves, and I just grabbed the For You. If you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you probably have lots of choices for the For You. This is a retired stamp set. If you don't have it, just pick something else that would work. You'll find something. It's a great guy card, so use one of the masculine stamp sets if you want to, or you could just use flowers and make it very feminine. Okay, so let me get all these layers out. There's tons of them. So we'll kind of lay them out and put them together. And you've got a very vanilla liner, so that's just going to go on the inside because the card base is basic black. And then you'll see you've got these folds. So this is where the card folds in half, and then this is what makes the easel part of it. So you kind of fold it up like that. And we'll go ahead and glue the liner into the card, and then we'll set that to the side. And you guys know, you've all been with me for a while, so you know that I love liquid glue. It's my favorite. Holds really well. It gives you a little bit of time if you have to move around. But always be sure that you glue at least 1/4 of an inch, maybe even 1/2 an inch inside, because it does spread out. So if you've glued right up towards the edge, it's going to end up coming out the side of your card. And nobody wants to do that. And the other thing about these is they're great. If they work really great if you store them upside down. And when you're done, put the lid back on them. Don't just leave them sitting out like this for 10 or 15 minutes, because then the glue dries at the top and it sticks, and then it makes it really hard to get it out, and you'll be frustrated. Okay, so let's grab the stamps that we're going to use. And you'll need your Memento black ink pad again, or ink spot, or whatever kind of black ink you have. All right, we'll start with the little circle with the For You. And of course, you could change this up. This would make it really cute if you've got a small birthday that would fit inside the circle. You could put that in there, or something else. Let's stick that over there. All right, and then we'll put the guitar on the long one. And the guitar has a lot of details on it, so you can see that I inked it up really well. Okay. And then we'll get the boots. And they have a lot of detail on them too. All right, we'll leave these all kind of sitting over there and let them dry for a second. It only takes a second. Now on this one, I colored in the bling with black. So I used a black Sharpie. If you don't have a black Sharpie, I'm pretty sure most people have a black Sharpie, and we're gonna need 6 of them. You can use a black permanent marker. The regular Stampin' Right markers will not work for this because they are water-based and they'll just wipe right off. So we're gonna do 6. And if you were gonna make this a girl card, you might bling up the boot. You could stick one down there on the boot. I think we'll do that on this one. Okay. All right, let's do a little gluing and then we'll finish the card out. The DSP for this one is from the annual catalog. It's a big pack of 24. Eclectic something, I believe is the name of it. I really should look these things up before I go live, huh? Yeah, should, but can't remember it all. Okay, those are all good. All right, so now this is the part where we want to be careful with the gluing. So we're only going to go up about to that top of that first or the third row of X's, which you can't see those when you turn it over, so I don't know why I referenced that, but all right. I'm going to eyeball it. Okay, and then just kind of center it up. I don't have any glue running over, so everything's good here. All right, then what you need to do is set this on the inside of the card, and you need to use a dimensional so that it will hold it. And I'm going to go ahead and use two, one on each side. So it needs to have kind of like a little lip. Okay, there we go. Oh, so cute. Okay, and now we're going to attach the other things. So I'm going to put the guitar on first. And again, you want to make sure no glue goes on the edge here so it doesn't touch the card base. So we'll kind of just keep that on the inside there. Whoops. All right, there we go. All right, and then this I actually popped up with a couple of dimensionals. And again, you don't want anything hanging over the edge because this does hang off the edge and interfering with that card base. So I'll put one on the bottom, one on this side, and one on top. You know, dimensionals hold really well. You really don't need to use tons of them. 2 to 4 is usually more than sufficient. Okay, isn't that cute? Yes, but it would be a lot cuter if we blinged it up. All right, let's bling it up, right? It's not a Chelle card if you don't bling it up. All right, so we'll put some bling on the boot. And then we will move the rest of the bling over to the top of the guitar where the strings attach and can be tightened or loosened. Oh, I love it. To me, these little tiny details are what makes the projects pop. All right, there we go. I hope you love it. So that is the guy card, or the country card, the country music card. All right, let's get this stuff kind of sorted out here so I have a little bit of room for the next project. You guys would just crack up if you saw the space that I worked in. Before we go on to the next one, let's do another drawing. All right, this time I have to give away these it's fall, so this really cute leaf label and amber gem combo packs. So it's leaf dies and then some beautiful fallish gems to go with that. All right, let's see who's gonna win this. Woohoo. And these go to Marcia. Congratulations, Marcia. So this will be in your kit. Enjoy. Yay, Marcia. All right, our next card is inspired by my sister's love for the beach. And it's just such a cute little card. I used the Seaside Bay stamp set with it, and my ink is copper clay. Now, copper clay is one of the new in colors. If you don't have that color, I'm pretty sure crumb cake would work with this, or any of your browns or black. So those would be some other options. Let's go ahead and open our kit up and take a look at everything that's in here. Okay, so you should have the little oyster shell and then some other little shells. And then I used a couple of the stamps. So I used the beach or the shells and the sand. If you don't have something like that, you could also just do florals, or you could leave it plain. You could even just emboss it if you wanted to. The card base is embossed, and I use the, it's a new embossing folder. It's called Twisted Rope. I thought it kind of looked like waves or water, so that's why I chose it. All right, let's go ahead and get some stamping done here. So on the inside, I have a little tiny sentiment that says, "You are a pearl, rare and precious." My sister liked pearls, and I actually inherited a pearl ring from her. So there's a couple things that inspired this one, is the fact that I have her pearl ring. I feel so blessed to have that. And then the fact that she loved the beach. And whenever I visited her in California, she lived there a couple of different times, we always went to the beach. And that was some of my happiest memories are with her at the beach. And even as children, our parents would take us to the beach when we were on vacations that the beach was available at. I've got some pictures of us in Florida and in California when we were quite a bit younger, of us at the beach or at a swimming pool. So that's kind of part of our heritage. Okay, so you're going to fold that little oyster shell in half, and then we're going to put that little sentiment in there. And if you don't have this one, just find something small. If you have paper pumpkin stamps, there's always tons of sentiments that are really unique and different. Okay, now the assembling on this one is pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and just attach that copper clay layer. And then I put the bigger shell in the middle, underneath that layer, at the bottom of that layer, and then the two little ones right next to it. I did use a dimensional on the bigger shell. The shells are from the coordinating die set that goes with the stamp set. They're called Seaside Baked dies. So it was part of that bundle. I think that this stamp set came out in the mini catalog last spring, but it is still in the current annual catalog. And there have been other beach sets over the years, so if you don't have this one, take a look at maybe one of your other beach sets and see if you have something similar. You have the shells, so you have the important parts, so it's going to come together no matter what. Okay, and then I used a couple of dimensionals on the little oyster shell. And there you go. Isn't that a cute little card? Oh, I love it. My brother-in-law a couple years ago gave me a bag of my sister's beads. She was a beader and she loved to make jewelry. And I went through that not too long ago. It took me a while to go through that. It was kind of painful seeing those things and knowing that she wouldn't be able to do that anymore. Anyway, when I was going through that, I found she always collected seashells when we were at the beach. And I found a lot of those seashells. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I have these. Oops, I forgot to put bling on that. Can you believe that? Let's get the bling out. So those are in my bathroom. I have a little candle holder kind of thing, votive holder, and I just filled the seashells and I put them in, I've got one of those soaking tubs, and I just put it near the soaking tub, so I've always kind of got them around. So I just used two of the rhinestones on this one, and I didn't color these. I didn't have a color that would be appropriate for this, a blend or a Sharpie, but I think it looks fine. It doesn't need to be colored. So, all right, you don't have to color every one of them. Okay, so that is that. Oh, we should give something else away, right? So let's give away these adhesive back seasonal sequins, and these are kind of fallish colors too. And let's see who is going to win these pretty sequins. These are going to, oops, I better redraw because two people fell out. I don't want to redraw it just out of those two. So sorry about that. All right, let's try it again. Chris, woohoo! Yay, Chris, congratulations. Okay, and let's move on to the next project. Okay, this is definitely our Ooh La La card. And this is inspired by white butterflies. So if you've read the Facebook post, you know. And if you attended last year, I talked about why I used white butterflies. But if you don't remember, let me go ahead and get these things out, and I'll get stamping, and I'll kind of explain to you what the significance is of a white butterfly. Uh-oh. There's not butterflies in here. This means I have to check everybody's kits before I can mail them out. Yep. Okay. Well, that's okay. I did cut some extra ones, so we'll be good to go here. I just have to double check everything. Now, on this one, I used the textured floral stamp set. And basically, all you really need is a nice, pretty sentiment. And you can put a flower on the envelope if you want to. Okay, so if you don't have this flower set, I'm sure you have some other flower set that will work fine, and then you just need a sentiment to go down here on the corner. I did use the new Bubble Bath ink pad, so this is one of the new colors that they brought out in the new catalog. And if you don't have this one, this is Old Olive, and then there's a darker green in there, and then there's kind of a reddish. So just look in your ink pads and find something, or in your spots. And obviously basic black would work too. I would try to work with a green if I was you. I think that would look really well if you don't have this one, or a pink that might go with it. Okay, so let's get the stamping done. And I did pre-emboss all of your layers, as well as the envelope. And I used the eucalyptus folders from the annual catalog. So, all right, we'll get the stamping done, and then I'll get back to telling you the white butterfly story, so I don't mess this up. All right, I'm going to start by getting the envelope done. So I'm just going to grab a flower and put that on the edge there of the envelope. And then we'll do our sentiments. I'm going to stamp off first to make sure I didn't pick up anything. All right, and you do want to go low with your sentiment. Let me move this into the camera, because you have this paper that goes across the top. So you want to leave as much room as possible for that. And then you do want it over to the side, because you're going to put some bling off to the other side of it. So lower corner, far right on the project. Okay, I think I got all the stamping done. And on these, I did color the bling. And I used, I think, an Old Olive marker. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Yep, Old Olive. So 2 little ones and then 3 big ones. We'll get those colored. 2 little ones and 3 big ones. I think Chelle would be really impressed with all the bling with our projects this year. I think I'll go over those a little bit more. You can color them and keep coloring them and make them even darker. Okay, well, let's set those to the side. And we'll start the assembly. All right, so we're going to glue the basic white layer to the bubble bath layer. And then we'll glue the other smaller layers on. All right, so the day after my sister passed away was a rough day for me, and I basically was just going to stay in bed and try to sleep the day away. The day before, when I had found out my sister passed away, my baby sister, Christy, asked me to go out to my parents. And they live about 1 hour and 15 minutes away from me at that time. They don't live where they live. Well, they live somewhere else now. But anyway, that doesn't matter. And I told her I couldn't do that. I was just way too upset, and I felt like my parents didn't need a crybaby over there. They needed somebody that was strong and was going to be sympathetic to them. So I didn't go. So the next morning, I just couldn't get out of bed, and I stayed in bed. And I guess maybe around 1 o'clock, I was looking out my bedroom window, and I saw a white butterfly kind of flit in and out, just coming up to the window, like staring at me, and then going back. And I'd never seen a white butterfly in my yard ever, and definitely not at my bedroom window. There's no grass under my bedroom window. There's no flowers. It's my bedroom window is on the patio, so I don't see a lot of insects generally out of that window. Anyway, this white butterfly kept flitting in and out, and then I heard my sister say, Michelle. I heard her voice in my head, and she said, "Take care of our parents, Deb. Take care of our parents." She repeated it twice. And I got up and I started looking out the window, and the butterfly was flitting back and forth and going out into my yard and then coming back to the window. And so I got up and I went and I told my husband, "Get ready, we're going to my parents, we're taking them dinner." And he's like, "What? I thought we weren't leaving the house today." And "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yep, a butterfly just told me we need to go do this, so we're going to do it." He goes, "Well, what are we going to eat?" And I go, we're going to call in a Papa Murphy's pizza, and we're going to throw together a salad." So that's what happened. We went and got a pizza, and we cooked it over at my parents' house and had salad, and it was a nice day. We sat outside and visited with them and talked about my sister, and it was actually very healing. So that's the deal on the white butterfly. Isn't this card gorgeous? I just love it. Last year, when I was preparing for the class, I decided to look up the meaning of a white butterfly. And if you're on the Facebook page, I actually captured that and put it in there to explain it, what it means. And one of the meanings is that it is a loved one from heaven that's thinking about you. So anyway, that memory brings me, or that whole situation brings me a lot of comfort. And now I try to take care of my parents, which is what my sister would want. Okay, we've got another door prize, and this one is these gold holly leaves. Let me show you them. They're really pretty. So I got these little, and they're all different little shapes. They make great little embellishments for fall cards, Thanksgiving cards, or Christmas cards. So let's see who's going to win those. And those are going to go to Marta. All right, congratulations, ladies. Okay, so those will be in your kit. All right, we have another card. Last but not least is this cute little card. So let me show you what stamp set I used. So I used the one called Coffee with Friends, and it's a cute line art set. If you don't have it, I know a lot of you have this one, In the Moment, and I think this one will work out really well too. I think we used this last year, or some other line art. I'm sure you have something that you can fill in. And then I used, so your vanilla layer was cut with the scalloped Concord dies. And then the ink that I used is a 2022 to 2024 in color called Starry Sky. And if you don't know this already, we learned this last year. This is Michelle's favorite color. She liked what my niece would call Dodger Blue. And we learned that this is the closest Stampin' Up! Color to Dodger Blue last year. Somebody wore their Dodger Blue jersey to class, and we were able to hold this right up to it, and it's almost a perfect match. So that's kind of fun. So that was kind of the inspiration for that. The card is the color, but also my sister and I always like to have coffee together, and especially the last couple months of her life, we would often have a cup of coffee sitting out on her patio, her back patio, with her. My sister, Christy, when she was there, we would go out there in the morning and just have a cup of coffee and enjoy the morning sun and just being together. And her backyard is very peaceful. So that's kind of what this is about, the color, and then the fact that we loved coffee, and we got to have some nice coffee dates with her before she passed away. All right, so let's talk about what's in the kit. So you're going to have a Starry Sky layer, and then you have a liner for the inside of the card, because the card, it is kind of dark, so to put a sentiment in there, you know, unless you use black ink, which you could use black ink very easily on this one. This will help with being able to see that sentiment. Okay, so we'll go ahead and glue that down. Okay, and I just made this a thinking of you card, and you can use whatever little sentiment you want in it. Let's see, where did my ink pad go? You guys would just crack up if you saw the mess that I have created here. It was really tidy when I started the video, but we're on card number 5, so it's a complete mess now. Do you work like that in chaos? I seem to work best in chaos. All right, and then here's the image that I'm going to use. And so that's going to go on our contour scallop die. And oops, look, there's a hole in there. Don't worry about that. You're going to cover it. And that's where I got this little punch out from. This is a great little paper saving tip. All right, this is a pretty detailed image, so I'm going to ink it up pretty well, and then I'm going to actually kind of check it on the scrap paper. Yay, good job. Okay. All right. Yay, I have successfully stamped in public today. I kind of make a joke about sometimes I don't do that well. All right, so we'll put some glue around the edge on this. And this DSP is also from that eclectic DSP from the annual catalog. It's a big pack of paper. It has 48 in it. And then we're going to glue that to the card base. And then this goes to the punched out DSP layer. And you know, if you wanted something really different, you could actually turn it that way, which it ties together really well with the paper. Maybe we'll do that with the DSP. Yeah, that actually looks good. Okay, and then we're going to put, you've got a little tiny bow that we're just going to kind of lay across. And I like to use just a smidge of Scotch tape to anchor that down. Glue dots work good too. And then we'll use a couple of dimensionals, and that'll pop it up. Okay, that's awesome. It's a very simple card, but the colors just go well, and I don't know, it kind of reminds me of me and my sister sitting on the patio drinking a cup of coffee together. Okay, I better stop talking about that stuff. All right, you guys. Hey, I hope you have a really great time with your kit. Enjoy your rhinestones, and those of you that won door prizes, congratulations. You should have an invite now for next month's class. It is also being offered virtually. It's called All About Fall, and I'd be happy if you signed up for that. This is a fundraiser class, and you probably know that all the money that is, all the profit that is generated from this event is going towards my parents' medical fund. It's been a rough medical year for them, and like my sister said, take care of your parents, Deb. So this is one more way that I can help them out and honor what she asked me to do. You'll also find a treat in the top of your box. I did freeze those before I mailed them out, so they should still be fresh when they arrive to you. I'm not going to tell you what the treat is right now in case you're watching the video before your kid arrives, but it is one of Michelle's favorite treats, and it was made by a local baker, Gina, who is also one of my customers. So one of the things that Michelle really liked was supporting local and especially supporting small businesses. So for the virtual event, I ordered the treats from Gina, who is a local baker. And then for the actual in-person event, I ordered the treats from Farm 12, which is where we're hosting the event. Farm 12 really meant a lot to my sister. She was never able to visit it, but it was being developed and created when she was still alive, and she was super excited about that coming to our community. And I know that she's really thrilled that I'm using the venue this time for that event. And so all the treats were purchased from them if you're attending in person. So that's the scoop on this year's event. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you so much for those of you that have placed orders this month or at really any time. But the orders this week, I'm taking all the commission and adding it to the fundraiser. So I will let you know in early October exactly what the fundraiser pulled in and how much we were able to contribute to my parents' situation. All right, thanks again, you guys. And if you have any questions about your kits or problems, please reach out and let me know right away. All right, take care. Thanks again.